Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you guys
Hi.
doing today?
Morning. Or
Good.
morning here. All good.
Great, great. So this is Jigsaw Parenting, and I am Sumitra Single, and I have with me
Stephen Bax.
and
Sissy Fanfark.
we're excited to see you guys today. But we wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about what's been going on now that all of our kids are back into the school building and some of the things that's happening with them. I know some of the things, obviously, since we've been home, they've been home. A lot of us have gotten really laxed and we're in our clothes, right? We get up out of bed, we're in those pajamas, we get to that Zoom camera, we're talking to whomever we have to talk to. And of course, if you're a business person, you got to put on that suit jacket and put on that nice blouse or whatever it is, some earrings, slap some makeup on, make sure you look good, just depending. Um, you go back to the classroom, depending on if your kids are at a school where they wear uniforms, or in my case, since I've moved, the school district I'm in, it is a no uniform school district. This is super new to me. I didn't even know what to do with this. Um, so of course, my personal kids, they were excited. Oh, we don't have to wear a uniform. As a parent, I wasn't too excited because I was like, man, you mean I gotta find clothes for them? They just can't have those weekend clothes that I buy, and I could buy 2 weeks worth of uniforms for them to wear all the time. So I actually had to go find these kids
Mhm.
clothes on top of the fact that we moved to a bit of a colder climate. So I've got to not just buy a bunch of shorts, right? I actually have to buy some clothes for the weather. But for me, being in a school district where kids can just come in with anything, can I just tell you, these kids literally come to school in pajama pants? And
Mm-hmm.
I am just, and by the way, and this may not be big for you, Sissy, but Stephen, they come to school in flip flops. And
Oh, I
it's
know.
and it's apparently it's okay. This is like
Okay.
completely normal with socks and flip flops. There is like
Yeah.
absolutely no rules, it
Ones
seems,
with
about.
fur.
Oh my
Hmm.
God,
So,
I don't get it. This is a big change because I'm coming from, we're used to uniforms. You
yeah.
know what they're supposed to wear. Feet should be covered and arms should be covered. And I don't know. It looks like a club sometimes at the school. I'm okay with the pajama pants because you've got clothes on, but these kids are coming in like they're
Yeah.
going to the club with some
Well,
of
when I went to school here in South Florida, we didn't have uniforms, but we had to wear long pants, no shorts.
okay.
But the girls
Okay.
wore mini skirts sometimes, and they had to measure that. But I was on the committee in Miami-Dade County to decide whether or not to go uniforms.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so they sent me down to Homestead to study what they had done because they were one of the few schools that did have uniforms.
Okay.
They said
Yeah.
don't have jean day because they never get back into their pants again. You know, Fridays are jean day. We still do that at our school. For $2, you can wear jeans.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but this year, when they came back, now it's school choice, so you can go to whatever school you want to go to. And one of the competing schools was pulling a lot of students out. Now they're all coming back. But so they wanted to be relaxed with the uniform so we don't upset the kids. They've kind of told us we're in a customer service mode, which I find a little offensive but they let them come in with anything. The Crocs are a big thing this year. And I think those are the ugliest shoes in the face of the earth. But the kids are wearing Crocs like crazy. That was never allowed before.
Right.
Well,
No.
we've been told, well, the other school's letting them do it, so we got to let them do it. I'm like, no, we don't. So
No.
now they've decided, they were wearing T-shirts, which they're not allowed to wear. Then they're coming in shorts. Some of the kids are dressed up as their favorite anime characters, walking around in their skirts.
I'm
That's
Yeah,
sorry.
kind of
bro.
Was that for a dress up day? Was that?
No, no, no. Anytime they have a spirit day, okay, where you
Oh,
can wear your spirit shirt, they took it to another level.
oh,
The
okay.
ladies are wearing those yoga pants, and the boys love that. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They get all
Sure.
kinds of
I'm
attention.
sure they do.
And the boys, if they have
Well,
PE, they show up in shorts. I'm like, no, you can't do that. So now they've decided we're having a meeting November 3rd, and we're going to crack down on this.
yeah.
But when you're the easy, calm, easygoing parent or whatever, you can't suddenly decide to discipline your kids when you've never done it before.
No.
And so that we're going to run into some resistance.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure you are, because just like you say, you can't decide, okay, I'm going to operate one way for this long period of time, and then now I'm going to do a 180 and think that everybody's going to be on board with it. So whether it's parenting, whether it's in the schools, you're going to have some issues there.
Yeah, they used to tell teachers, don't smile till October, and then you can ease off a little bit, so they know you mean business. But they're going the other way, and it's gonna, we'll be okay. But it's gonna definitely meet with some resistance. So what they want us to do on the 5th, not the second or the third, the 5th violation, they have a spreadsheet they sent out to us, an Excel spreadsheet. We have to put a V in every time they violate. On the 5th violation, we have to call the parents.
Okay.
Oh, so it's more work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I took a kid down that was so out of uniform. She said, well, can't you call the parents? We've got a lot to do here. And I'm like, wow. Okay.
And what if the parent decide, well, it's okay with me. She can wear whatever she likes. What will you do then?
Exactly. Some teachers are like, you know what? I'm not even dealing with this. If they don't want to deal with it, if they don't want to deal with it, I'm not going to. And we don't have a lot of issues, but this is becoming one.
Well, I could see that being the case, as far as if you guys, teachers, feeling like basically if administration isn't making really a big deal about this, why should they?
Yeah.
Because it really becomes one more thing that you have to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On top of the 50 million things you do as a teacher.
Yeah,
anyway.
and this is not really a priority. There are a lot of other things going on that's more of a pressuring matter than clothing.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I don't know, academics.
Yeah.
We're there to teach them, and they're there to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, something else. Well, Sissy, do you guys have uniform there? Let me ask you that.
No, there are very, very little school with uniforms, which I grew up on. When I grew up on Curacao, you had certain schools that had uniforms and certain schools that didn't. Well, I went to a school without uniforms. My brother went to school with a uniform, and I was always jealous because everyone was treated the same way. I really liked the fact that I didn't have to think about what I should wear that certain day, and we didn't have special. Well, at least. Carnival, you could dress up, but otherwise you still had to think about what will I be wearing tomorrow, instead of just put on my uniform and I'll be the same as everyone else. But now here, all the schools, none of them have uniforms, which I'm kind of opposed, because it really sets the difference between classes. You've got kids with all these brands and certain clubs.
Yes.
Even in elementary, you can see girls growing up turning into emos. You've got certain groups which are trendy groups, all brands, wearing Nikes or other things.
Right.
And then you've got the kids that don't have a lot of income, that they'll just wear whatever's clean. So I don't like it too much. I prefer everyone to have the uniform, but otherwise, on the other hand, before elementary, they can start finding out what they like, who they are, their personalities can start to develop early. So it's a plus, and I don't know what is better. To me personally, I like the uniform idea better.
Yeah.
But when I see that they start early on realizing who they really want to be or what they really like themselves, it's kind of a good development.
So I like the uniforms, because I'm with you in the sense of, first of all, there's no debate about what am I going to wear tomorrow, because now that we're in a school district that there are no uniforms, there it is. My youngest one, I hear her every night. What am I going to wear tomorrow? She never had that problem before. It was simply find some uniform bottoms, find a uniform shirt, make sure all your stuff is clean, and that's it. The most you had going on was a pair of shoes,
Yeah.
As a parent, I liked it. First of all, it was less money for me, because I set out the money. I bought 2 weeks worth of uniforms, a few long sleeve or longer or warmer clothing for when it got cooler. And maybe at some point during the school year when they wore the heck out of those pants, where you're like, yeah, we can't do this anymore. I go buy them some new ones or whatever. I liked it.
Well, I have to ask, what brands are they into now?
I mean, I think just like she was a Nike, just any name brand.
Any name brand.
Any name. And it can be as crazy as girls as young as 10 years wearing Gucci or Ralph Lauren to Adidas or Nike. It's really still a difference
is what my boys like.
Which one's better. It's
and
crazy.
I think that causes, that could potentially, like you said, it kind of starts to group them. And then unfortunately for those kids, you've got kids trying to keep up with the other kids, or you got some kids where maybe financially their parents just don't have the money for all of that. And it just starts to cause divisiveness unnecessarily for the kids at such a young age. Yes, they need to have time to explore who they are. But you know what? They can do that on the weekends too, or over the summer.
Well, they also found out it has an effect on attendance. When I was doing the study for Dade County, they said the attendance goes up when they have uniforms. Attendance gets better when they have uniforms.
Really?
They don't have to figure out what to wear. It's just laid out. Tardies went down, absences went down. And I think that's a good thing. Before we had uniforms, and you're going to go through this up there in Atlanta. Before we had uniforms, it was always the girls that were showing a little too much, and the boys were sagging too much, and you had to get.
It's still happening.
Yeah, you had to get either a male or a female faculty member to enforce it because you didn't want to get any accusations of this.
Right.
So it got ugly. That all went away pretty much once they went to uniforms.
So I need to find out what the deal is here. Have they ever had it? Did they stop it, or did they've never? I don't know. I haven't
Broward County doesn't have uniforms.
That. Huh?
Broward County doesn't have uniforms in the high schools.
Right. Because so my niece went to school in Broward, and I realized that I definitely like the uniforms, but at where I am right now, I'm just seeing way too much body parts going on the girls and the guys.
You'll get colder soon.
They don't know that code that we know. If you stand up and you put your arms down, the skirt or the dress should at least meet your fingertips. Okay, I'm just seeing way too much. You can tell,
but that gets more complicated. The skirt thing, it gets more complicated. When I taught in Tallahassee, they said, well, big girls, their arms aren't going to come down, if you get a big girl. So they would literally put the kid on their knees to see if the skirt touched the ground.
Oh.
Because big girls, their fingers don't go down as far.
Okay, fine. Well, then let the skirt.
But that's how complicated it got because parents complained.
Listen, it can go to the knee. I don't need to see all that. Okay.
No.
Because it becomes a distraction.
Yeah.
Put on some clothes, cover your body. I didn't say you need to look like a monk. Okay. All I said was come to school to learn. And something else.
You're not going to a club.
You're not going to. Can you save the club for the weekend? Okay.
Right.
Club crib. You can do whatever you want at your house. Let your parents deal with that.
Yep.
But when you're in school, I'm trying to teach you. I need you to walk away with some knowledge, not, me having to spend my time with discipline issues or, clothing violations. Because the time I'm wasting with that, we're losing time on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you something else I'm seeing now that we're back in the classroom. I'm giving, quizzes. I'm giving tests. These kids have been used to being home, and the cheating is out of control right now. I'm like, because they were at home and they were on their computers and they were on Zoom, and when they were taking tests, they were opening up, I guess, other
devices,
screens or other devices, and they were cheating, or I don't know what they were doing. But now I've got kids sitting in front of me, and I'm walking around the classroom. They're taking a test, and they have other screens that they have. And I'm like, hello, did you not see and it heard me when I said this was a closed note exam, individual assignment. It's written there for my visual learners. I said it for my audio learners. I said it for, So I had to say something to several students about this. And I'm like, this wasn't even a difficult this wasn't difficult. But I think that's also a product of them being home because they were just cheating because
Oh
they
yeah.
could. And
Well,
nobody
this year I got two lower level classes. I should say regular because I usually get the advanced kids. The
Mhm.
advanced kids I give essay tests to, and they're
Yeah.
timed and they grade one another. It's really hard. It's almost impossible to cheat on those.
Right.
And it's to prepare them for the Cambridge exam at the end of the year. The
Yeah.
lower level world history kids, I gave them a test. They did horrible. Mr. Bax, can we take it again? Yes. And I gave it again, but I changed the order of the multiple choice.
Of course.
And they
Multiple
said, but you
choices.
changed the order of the multiple choice. Well, yeah, it's the same test. And then they complain, and they still did awful. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh,
Well, that's funny because I did a retake on an exam where kids did pretty bad on because they didn't prepare. It wasn't
Mhm.
because they couldn't get it; they just didn't. And it was in this one particular class. And when I tell you the students that did the retake, none of them scored better than they did the first time. And some of them
oh,
scored the exact same score. Now, it was still on the same topic. The questions were slightly different and, definitely in a different arrange order. But I'm like, it didn't matter. You didn't know the material in the first place because this
no,
time you should have done great. It even had less questions. So
no,
it's
they
almost
didn't
like
even prepare the second time.
Not
exactly.
at all. They don't. They don't.
You already kind of got an idea of how my test was going to be. You should have been more prepared. But I I definitely think that that's with us being home for a year that it's almost going to take like a year, and we've heard it before that a lot of people feel like we've lost a year. I really feel like we're going to continue to see it where we're
Well,
not going to get some better strides for a little while inside the
I'm saying
classroom as
yes
far
and
as our
no
habits.
because my advanced kids, they clicked right in.
Oh,
Um,
good.
they really did. I have them do music videos. If you look up on YouTube, Mr. Bax Projects, look up there's a geography one. Maybe I'll send a link a little later. And a history one, and they have to use 25 terms to make a music video out of it. And they did
Yeah.
amazing jobs this year. But then I gave it to the regular kids. It was awful.
Yeah, but
I've got to shift gears because I think those are the ones that missed. The ones that
yeah,
did low
but
students.
the whole different kind of attitude with advanced kids. They have a different attitude
Yeah.
about studying, and the regular kids, let's call them regular ones, they're missing the year. They're gonna
They're the
struggle,
ones that really
try
got
to
hurt.
catch up, and then get in the rhythm of doing the hard
Mhm.
work again to have the results. They're so used to, I'll do it later and just see what happens. And that's going to take a long time to get back into the whole, I need to grind, otherwise
Yeah.
I won't make it.
But you
And I
talk to
think
the students
I,
and it comes from the home.
it does.
You ask, what do your parents do? And a lot of times it's broken homes or mom and dad didn't really do much in school and they're kind of doing day labor stuff or something like that. And, you would think that would be a motivation to get out of it. But by and large, that they reflect their parents. I mean, my mother was the only one in her family to graduate high school. I was the first one to graduate college. The rest of them didn't do so hot. And, so it's what you're used to. It's what you're surrounded by and how you're raised. That has a
Well,
lot
and I
to do
think
with it.
it's also that intrinsic motivation because you have some kids that still are in tough situations and they shine,
Yeah.
and it's just because they want to or they want to do better. Granted, it's those are tougher situations
Right.
to rise
Yeah.
above because you've got all these other forces surrounding you
Mm-hmm.
that is
Yeah.
definitely just throwing all the daggers your way, and you've got everything going against you. So that is tougher, but it's not impossible.
No.
But I
No.
definitely feel, at least in the school setting, with us having, there's a routine, a bell rings, school starts at a certain time, then you go to this class, you go to that class, you know who your teachers are, you know what to expect. That routine in and of itself, I think with time for the kids who are struggling will get them back on track. But I can
Yeah.
just say
Yeah.
right now, we are, as teachers, we're definitely seeing the effects of, we've been sitting
Yeah.
home for like a year
Mm-hmm.
between the
Yeah.
clothing and just the way they're acting. It's something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
definitely something. But anyway, folks, this has been a great talk today. Thank you all for coming. I hope to see you guys again on another episode of Jigsaw Parenting. I am
Very
Sumitra
soon.
Single, and today I had with me
Stephen Bax.
and
Sissy Fan Park.
we'll see you guys another time, okay?
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.